FCC is calling for the removal of TikTok from Google and Apple's app stores. It's amid privacy concerns that China is able to access the video app's user data. Let's break it down with digital media expert Seth Schachner, who I'm sure would be able to do that, handle that much better than I could. Seth, thank you for bearing with me there. So let's just get right to it. We've talked so much about TikTok and the ties it has to China. What's at the heart of this?
Good to be here, Jim. Well, it really is about data privacy, basically, and U.S. user data being able to be accessed in Beijing. And, there's been plenty of kind of evidence and practices in the past that are very reasonable to be concerned about. And that's actually what the heart of it, at least in terms of the immediate near term, is all about. And it's you're right to stumble on it a little bit because it's a complicated set of things that are circling this issue. They've, basically the FCC, a commissioner, their CAR, I think has reached out to the two major app stores on these concerns, basically about user data, American user data, and privacy practices, and is asking both the app stores, Apple and Google at a top level, to justify how these data practices of TikTok, fit with their overall app store policies. They're heavily implying that they don't. So that's kind of the short-term concern, and I think it's very justified and serious. Just to take it a little bit longer into the future, the deeper kind of concern going out years from now is all about AI. That For You page that everyone uses can be used to influence people. So that data can somehow be used there.
We've talked so much, too. I mean, we mentioned that, and you can go down a whole different road when it comes to deep fakes and everything else and how AI is being weaponized by some. But when we talk about TikTok, there was a push by the Trump administration to essentially shut that down, and that went by the wayside. So why doesn't the government just issue a similar order rather than doing this end run and going to two companies that have nothing to do with their data practice? Go to Apple and go to Google. Why don't they just go right to the source here?
Well, both of these things are, I think it's actually very smart strategically. And frankly, the issue to try and hammer through a political solution to this, either of the last two administrations, is a difficult thing to do in practice. There's been a ton of attention around data practices, and TikTok's making a lot of noise about a Texas-based approach with Oracle that goes to hosting, which is really not of the issue. But it's the top level is not an easy thing to do, basically. And I think this is an extremely smart approach kind of at the top level. I think there will be something coming out of the Biden administration that is either a data policy or perhaps a law that will govern a lot of foreign apps, which is what we've heard will happen. And I think that is sorely needed here. Whoever is running the administration basically just hasn't happened yet.
Well, I know, Seth, when we look at just this new frontier, and we call it a new frontier, but we've been trying to navigate this ever since people started downloading America Online back in the mid-'90s. The reality is you have a lot of people in Congress who are still making these laws who I don't believe understand the intricacies of this new frontier. But it is good to see, at least from your perspective, that you believe that there are some people at the top who might have a better approach to this.
There are. I'm an ex-AOLer, by the way, from the early days of the company back in Vienna, and DC's my hometown, by the way, so it's so great to be talking to you. But I think Commissioner Carr knows what he's doing, actually, and I think it's a very smart move. Whether it winds up, they can't actually regulate this, to be honest with you, the FCC.
Gotcha.
But I don't think it's a misguided move.
Next time we have on, we'll talk about our AOL screen names, our AIM screen names and all that. Seth Schachner, thanks for bearing with us tonight. Good to see you.
Good to be here.